Okay, hello, internet world. Okay, my parents are not home. Thank God. I thought they were gonna walk in on me being an idiot. But okay, so Janice, his hair is just amazing. The best wig or whatever I've ever fucking seen. I want that fucking wig. It just flows so fucking flowingly. It's amazing. It looks good in the front face straight down. I don't know why I couldn't say that. And it also looks good pushed back. Both ways it looks good. He has the most amazing hair. His face is not all that. He kind of looks like a discount store Jeff Goldblum, which I've heard people say, including my friend, think that Jeff Goldblum is hot in The Fly and Jurassic Park, but I cannot agree. Jeff Goldblum is just I just can't see him as hot, and he'll always be the dad in Cats and Dogs to me. I just can't do it. But anyways, this guy was kind of a discount slash a little bit better looking Jeff Goldblum. But anyways, whatever. That's not the point. The point is he is the the main head captain or whatever of all the Praetorian Guard for Tiberius. But he makes a fucking big ass mistake because goes up to Pretorius, or not Pretorius, what the fuck? He goes up to Tiberius after his son dies, and then he says to Tiberius like, "Oh, if you're looking for someone to appoint, I've always been loyal to you, and I could take your spot as emperor and stuff." Then Tiberius is like, he has to die, how dare he say that to me? He's obviously like trying to get power for himself. So then he basically, oh, I forgot. So earlier, Tiberius had these rules or whatever where he was just like anyone that talks bad about him, he's gonna like exile them or kill them or some shit like that. So, fucking, uh, Caligula's mom. Caligula has two older brothers. Caligula is like the baby. He has like two older brothers and three older sisters. Even though, I don't know, they said that his sisters are actually younger than him, but the way they show them in the show, they are clearly older than him. They're way bigger than him. And I mean, I know that when kids are like under puberty, the girls are usually bigger than the boys, even if the boys are older by a year or two. So I don't know, maybe, but it looked like he was the tiniest and the littlest, and it looked like all his sisters were older than him, and his brothers were definitely like 10 years older than him. Um, so, anyways, yeah, so his mom was going around apparently talking shit to everybody, saying like, Tiberius caused the death of my husband, it's his fault, he killed him, blah 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 blah. And she was saying that to everybody, and Tiberius was like, silence, woman. And he sent in his people to go get her, and the two older brothers, for some fucking reason, I don't know why. And then for some fucking reason they wanted to get Caligula too, but she's like, Caligula, hide in the closet. And he hid in the closet, and then his brothers and his mom got dragged away. And on the other show, as they said, they got chained up on an island and starved to death. So that's fucked up. And so, anyways, after that, Caligula apparently, for some fucking reason, he got separated from his sisters, who they didn't give a fuck about the sisters because they're like, oh, sisters who were less than 15, who gives a fuck, they didn't decide to sell them in slavery or whatever, I don't know. Maybe because they're too upper class for that. I don't fucking know. Whatever. So they sent them to one home. They sent Caligula to another home, and then they had this really funny scene where Caligula's like a little baby 7-year-old, was like looking out the window, and then they just like cross faded into him looking out the same window as like an adult. It was like really funny. So he was just standing there, and then looking out the window like he'd been there like without a break for like 20 years or whatever. And anyways, so apparently, I forgot kind of what happened in the middle, but then he gets summoned by Tiberius. Tiberius is like, bring me my nephew, and shit. Oh, right. That's another thing. Tiberius is his uncle. I don't know if I said that. I think I left that out. I think Germanicus is Tiberius's younger brother. And then, uh, Claudius is also one of their brothers. I think Claudius was the youngest. And then Germanicus was next, and then Tiberius is the oldest. I think that's how it went. Some shit like that. They didn't spell it out like that, but I think basically that's the idea. Anyway. So, Yeah, he's like, bring me my nephew, and they go get Caligula and they bring him to the island, and then Tiberius has a grandson. I don't know if this is the son of the dude who died, or if he had daughters. I don't know what the deal is, but he has this grandson who is 12 at this time, and they said Caligula. I think they said Caligula's 19, something like that, and so yeah, his grandson is like, I'm gonna be the next emperor, right? And they try to make this kid seem bratty, but they can't compete with Commodus's brattiness. He just kind of seems like a regular ass little kid who just has nothing to do. He's like, you must learn from your older cousin or whatever. So, his grandson is there. That's Gemellus, which is funny to me because doesn't Jamel kind of mean twin? I think something like that. But anyways, so he's there, and then Caligula comes over on this ship. He basically like has to come or whatever. He's summoned. And then supposedly, I really, really don't know if I could trust this season because the scholars seem like they're kind of full of bullshit here, but this is what they say. So they're like, okay, Caligula has to figure out how to like survive here because he thinks Tiberius is gonna kill him because Tiberius killed his dad, basically. So, he's like sent to live with Tiberius, and then they really try to paint this picture of Tiberius being like this creep who wants to creep on his own like hot nephew, and he's like has all these girls on the bed again, and he's like, hey, why don't you get up on the bed with them? Because I want to look at your little sexy ass too. And Caligula's like, what? He's like, oh, don't you want to have sex? Don't you want to join them? Like, wouldn't that be fun for you? And not that I'm thinking about my own desires, haha, whatever. So he sends Caligula up on the bed to go fuck, quote unquote, these girls, i.e., basically just lay down on the bed and have the girls kind of like do this above him. And then they touch each other's hands and stuff like that. And like I said, they never take off his underwear. So, anyways, whatever. So he does all that while his uncle watches. And then they just kind of go on and on about how he was scared for his life and how he thought Tiberius was going to kill him every day, but Tiberius was really like grooming his grandson to be an ex-emperor. He was too young and inexperienced, and he tried to get Caligula to like groom his grandson with him and stuff like that. And then whatever, I kind of forgot some shit. Then Tiberius dies. Oh, right, he's sick in bed, and then Caligula comes in and he like puts a pillow on his face. Because of course, because this is a fucking what is that TLC channel or whatever? What is that? Oh, Lifetime movie, like type of bullshit. So that happens because of course, like that's just a given. And then he's just like, I hate it every time you looked at me, and stuff like that. And then, yeah, he suffocates him on the bed. Then everybody's just like, oh, well, he would have died anyway, whatever. And then, they're like, okay, Tiberius's will was that, I keep wanting to say Claudius, Caligula, and Gemellus will rule together as, like, brothers or whatever. I think Tiberius might have said that before he died, I don't remember. But essentially, that's his will. And then, now apparently like 6 years, 6 years have passed. So, or some amount of time, I don't know, because they said Gemellus says first he was 12, and now he's 18. So that's 6 years. And then they said that Caligula is 24. So I guess he was 18 when he first got there. Not 19. Whatever. So, so Camillus comes in, he's like, an older kid now. He's like, okay, I know you're gonna kill me, like, just get it over with. And, Caligula's like, no, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm gonna adopt you, even though I'm only 6 years older than you. But somehow you're gonna be my adopted child. Okay, that's fine. You know what? That reminds me of my role-playing days. There would be role plays like that where they would want, like, it was like a thing, like, I gotta talk about this. I want to do a whole series on role playing and like the culture of it and everything like that. I feel like I could write a fucking book, and I might. I just might, but it'll be an audio only book. um, but like yeah, there was this thing that was like one of the popular options, which was like adopted child slash adoptive parent, but it was never like the ages you would expect of a real parent. It was always a really small gap because they wanted them to fall in love. It's kind of like something you would see in a manga anime or something like that, where it's like the person doing the adopting was always like 18 to like 25, and the person being adopted was like 12 to 15. So, yeah, not much of an age gap, you know, but just enough to where it's like, okay, you're on the legal line of adulthood, I'm on the non-legal line, you know, and shit like that. So, essentially that's what's going on here. He's like, you're gonna be my son, quote unquote. And then once I die, you'll be emperor, or whatever, even though it's like they're so close in age. Like, what are you really promising here, you know? So anyways, let me see. This is kind of where I start forgetting. I always remember like the setup to each season, and then I kind of forget like a whole chunk of the middle. Anyways, then I can't remember. Yeah, not Claudius. Caligula is emperor now, and then some dude comes to him and he's just like, whatever you desire, you know, what shall you have? And he's just like, I want to live with my sisters again, because I really miss my sisters. Bring me my sisters so we can all live under the same roof, you know, and stuff like that. So his sisters come back in, and his sisters, the fucking scholar, one of the scholars was like having fucking fun because he was calling them the fucking girl pop band of the ancient Rome or something like that. He was like, oh, it's the pretty one, the ambitious one, and the quiet one, and shit. And it's really funny because obviously all of them are hot. Like, that's what we're dealing with here. All of them are hot, and all of them are pretty. So you can't really have a pretty one. But it's really funny because the one they chose for the pretty one, like, her look was so old-fashioned. Like, I was kind of like, this is kind of telling. Like, I'm not complaining because they're obviously giving me plenty of guys to look at. I'm not trying to say, like, oh, I can have my guy, but you can't have women. You know, obviously it's fine. But, it's just funny it kind of made me see, like, who is this show kind of made for? Because when they showed the one who was supposed to be the pretty one, her look was so old-fashioned. Like, she was just, like, super white. Like, all these people are white, okay? This is a white show. All these people are white, but she was extra, extra, extra white. Like, Jessica Simpson. Like, she had, and I was just kind of looking at her like, this is kind of interesting, honestly, to me, because it's like, okay, if this what people think is, like, beautiful amongst beauty, like, the beautiful of the beautiful, you know, like, and I was like, what does she have? Like, okay, I think it's because she has round everything. Her face is round, her eyes are round, her mouth is round, everything round, you know, and she just, I don't know, she just looks like a Barbie, like, that's the only way I can really describe it. Like, obviously she's blonde, but her other sister, the ambitious one, is also blonde, too, and she's also hot. Like, if anything, I think that she, the ambitious one, is more the standard of beauty for now. Like, when I saw the girl who played Cleopatra, and how she looked like Megan Fox and everything, I expected that. I'm kind of like, okay, that kind of plays into, like, exactly what I expect. Just, like, this super sexy, like, tan chick with, like, these bright piercing eyes, you know, and everything like that. I don't know. It just, that's kind of just expected to me. But this chick, I'm just like, this is kind of like a country standard of beauty. Like, I don't know. It's just interesting to me. Because I'm used to seeing, like, the ambitious one, quote unquote, Agrippina. She has, like, you know, the very manicured, like, skinny eyebrows and, like, the almond-shaped eyes and just, like, everything. Like, she kind of looks like Angelina Jolie, you know? But then, yeah, the one who, they said was the pretty one, the only person I can think of to compare her to is Jessica Simpson. Just, like, very, very blonde, very round, very Barbie-ish, you know? I'm just kind of like, interesting. Very interesting. I mean, I don't even see girls like that in San Francisco. I don't think they live here. But anyways, okay, and then the other one, Livilia, Lavilla, something like that. They said is the shy one because they're like, oh, we don't really know much about her because she wasn't in the records. Which tells me I think she was a smart one because she could tell how crazy her fucking family was and she just wanted to stay out of that shit. You know, that speaks of intelligence to me. But of course they make her the only one with dark hair, the only one who actually looks kind of Italian, and she kind of is like a little bit pudgy. I don't know. Like, she's not fat or anything. Like, she's just as hot as everybody else, but she's more like cute, more like cutesy, like cheruby, like, I don't know, chubby cheeks, kind of round face, like just like innocent looking girl. I don't know. It's interesting. It's really interesting to see the way they cast this shit and like what does that say? You know? I don't know. But anyways, so basically he gets back with his sisters. One of them, the pretty one, quote unquote, Drusilla, is which is really funny because I've heard other shows and stuff where there's girls named Drew, and once again in the roleplay world, there was Drusilla. I think because there's a character from Buffy named Drusilla, which everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people I know, my uncle and etc., really love Buffy and they think Buffy's great. I don't know. I've taken 2 looks at Buffy and I don't think I could watch it. Buffy doesn't look like it's my type of thing. But I think there's somebody in that show named Drusilla. And I think because of that, like in the roleplay world, a lot of people named their characters Drusilla. So I heard that name a lot. And it's funny because now I'm always going to associate it with Caligula. It's funny. But anyways, so yeah, she's married. She has her poor sorry sap of a husband who gets just screwed over. But and yeah, Caligula comes in. He's just like, "Oh, my beautiful sisters, I love you all so much." And then I can't remember what happens in the middle, but basically he starts fucking them all. Oh shit! I totally forgot like a really important part because I can't remember what order things happen in. But this is the most funnest, most interestingest part, and I know the time is gonna run out of me. Maybe I'll go to 25 minutes because I really want to talk about this. This is the best part. Okay, so. So basically, according to the other show, the academic show, Caligula, for the first 6/7 months, was good. I don't know, good, quote unquote, you know. But then after that, he apparently had some kind of crazy ass fever, and that almost killed him or some shit. And then when he got better from that, he became a fucking maniac. So that's what they said in the other show. And both shows kind of said, like, okay, this is kind of just a myth. Like, we don't really know. You know, like, it's kind of just something people say. And, like, we really don't know, you know, whatever. But I like to think it's true. Like, or I don't even care if it's true or not. I just like to think it. Like, it's just fun for me. Maybe I'm just a fucking sicko, as you can probably tell already. But, like, I like that idea. I think it's fun. You know, like most working class millennial children, I I am automatically attracted to things that are kind of sick and twisted a little bit. And I like thinking that he fucking went crazy or became lobotomized because he had his brain fried by a fucking fever. Like, I kind of enjoy that. That's like a fun thought to me. But in both shows, they're just like, okay, this is probably fake. Or it probably didn't really have that much to do with it. Like, in this show, the soap opera, they really tried to go for the idea, like, okay, no. Like, it's just one of 3 things. Like, number 1, maybe being sick made him think that somebody tried to poison him. So he got paranoid and started cracking down on everybody. Number 2, he didn't think he was poisoned, but it just kind of made him realize his own mortality, so he started cracking down on everybody. Or number 3, it didn't matter at all. He just started cracking down anyways because he is an asshole and he was just paranoid. Or he just didn't want people to kill him. Or he just, he was just an asshole and he just cracked down. It didn't matter. It wasn't related. But I like to think that. So there's this great part where because I can't remember who he's with, if he's already fucking his sisters or if he is with somebody else. But and they said supposedly in this show, once again, I cannot trust them, but they're like, oh, he started fucking his sisters because he felt like his family is the only one he can relate to and only one he can trust. And Oh, and also, I almost forgot this fucking part. But I swear to God, I think this is after when he got sick. I don't remember. I feel like he was with another chick at first. Maybe he was just having orgy. I don't think he had a wife or like a wife beside his sisters. I think he was just fucking random chicks or whatever. Because I remember he was in the bed with a girl. Anyways, whatever. So he got up. He got up from the bed and he's just kind of like, like he's hungover or whatever. And then he goes over to like the windowsill, the same windowsill all these motherfuckers, because they all live in the same house, you know, they all, it's like the White House, like everybody lives there, you know? They all go out to this balcony and stuff. This same balcony that always looks the same with this like green screen background and shit. And he goes out there, he's like drinking again. Let me take a drink. I'll just pretend. I'll act it out, okay? He goes up to the window like this. He's like, puts his hand on the banister and he's like looking out and he's drinking. First thing in the morning after being hungover and fucking all night. Of course, the first thing he's like, what do I need? My head hurts. I kind of feel like shit, you know? He's like doing stuff like this, like, God, I don't feel good. He's like, you know what I need? I need more wine. So he starts drinking like this. And then he goes like, he just kind of like, and then he starts to get all like tipsy and then he fucking falls down. And they say he went into a coma. A fucking coma? That's not what they said in the other show. The other show, they just said it was a fever. But I'm like, okay. And they said he was in a coma for 3 months, which automatically I know that's fucking fake. Because you can't be in a straight up coma for 3 months. You'll die. Maybe not in the modern world where we have modern tech and shit like that, but not back then. You have to be waking up at least enough to just sip a little bit of water. Otherwise, you're gonna die. You can't go more than like, I think 5 days pretty much is the limit for the average human without water. You need to just drink a little bit of water. You need to have a little bit of food. You need to do something or you're not going to make it. Okay? You can't just be out for 3 months. Like that's not how it's working here. Okay? I'm laying down the law. Anyways, so whatever. He's like sick in bed and he's just like he's all out of it. And you know what's funny? On top of this guy, maybe I'm just being swayed by my I don't know, maybe I'm just being convinced by this motherfucker's cuteness. But on top of being the most attractive of the three, I really kind of think this guy's the best actor because he has some subtle moments here and there. Overall, I think they're all three are the same. Maybe I have to pay more attention. Maybe the other two are better than I'm giving it credit for. I don't know. All three of them are fine. I'm not a fucking acting critic. Like, some people are like, this actor is like this, that. Then they start picking out all these little things that make them a good or bad actor. I can't do that. I'm just like, whatever. You know, it's all the same to me. But just once in a while, a little thing catches my eye. This guy has a couple moments that I just noticed that, like, kind of made me think, like, oh, he has, like, some good subtleties, you know, and stuff like that. So anyways, he's like sick in bed. He's just like, nah, 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 nah. And they're like, I don't know, this guy comes around. He just does the typical shit that they do in every show where they like do this, you know. I don't know why they always do that. That's like a mandatory for TV shows. Like, you always gotta just like, yeah, just look in the eyelid like this. I don't know. I saw it in the X-Files when I was a kid. I've seen that in like so many movies. That's just what they always do. It's mandatory. If you don't do it, you get your fingers chopped off. Anyways, so fast forwarding, Caligula gets better, I guess. You know, whatever. He wakes up and then this one guy tries to tell him like, oh yeah, you know, we found poison. It was in your little cousin's room, but apparently he was setting him up. He was like framing him. And then they throw Gemellus in prison, and then later on they go to prison, and then Caligula's like, he's like, yeah, you know, here, give this kid your sword, and the kid's like, no, I won't do it, and then they put the sword in his hands, but backwards, so it's like facing him, they make him like stab himself, and they're like, oh no, he committed suicide. Yeah. Some shit like that, because that's a callback to earlier in the show that I totally forgot to mention, when Caligula was still under Tiberius's control, as they want to paint the picture. And he was talking to some senator, and the senator was just wandering around talking shit about Tiberius, like, yeah, Tiberius sucks, can't wait till he dies, you should be the emperor, you know, and blah, 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 and everything like that. Your dad should have been emperor, man, like, fuck Tiberius, and everything like that. And then the next thing you know, they're waking up Caligula from some fucking orgy he had or some shit like that. He's like, what? As he's pulling his shirt on. They're like, okay, come in this room and don't say shit. Don't even blink. Don't make a face. Don't do anything. Just fucking be cool. And he's just like, fine. They go into this dungeon. It's that same like senator all tied up. Tiberius is like, what'd you say about me? You said you said I should die and that this bitch should take over for me. And he's like, the senator's like, and he turns to Caligula. He's like, is this what the senator said? The senator's like, and then Caligula's like, yep, that's what he said. Every word is true. And then they kill him, like, right in front of him. So it's kind of a callback to that a little bit. And then the scholars are saying, like, oh, yeah, Caligula, he never showed emotion because he was taught not to do that from Tiberius or whatever. Anyways, so, oh, shit, it's 25 minutes. Okay, let me cut it off and pee, and I'll come back.